James Corden. You might not recall his name, but just one glance at his image and almost anyone would recognize him. His videos once went viral all over YouTube thanks to carpool karaoke, especially for those who were hardcore fans of YouTube during its golden era. James was known for his friendly smile. In 9.5 out of 10 photos, he's beaming cheerfully. His fame was so bright it seemed there wasn't a single celebrity he hadn't shared the spotlight with, even Justin Bieber. 10 years ago, his total video views reached 161 million. He played dodgeball with Michelle Obama and stood alongside a long list of top Hollywood stars. CBS placed all its bets on an unknown British actor, and that gamble appeared to pay off handsomely. But what if I told you that James Corden in real life is completely different from the version you see on social media? Would you believe it? A difficult, arrogant person who often asserts his power rudely when the cameras aren't rolling. While audiences believe James Corden to be a humble, cheerful TV host, backstage crew, restaurant staff, and even colleagues describe a completely different version of him. An irritable man who looks down on others and behaves like royalty. Many found it hard to believe because he had once been so beloved, especially among American audiences. This might sound like an anti-fan video, but give me a few minutes, let's revisit the full story together. Let's go back to the time when no one knew who James Corden was. He wasn't born with privilege, didn't come from a prestigious family, didn't attend a top art school, and no one rolled out the red carpet for his entry into the entertainment world. James started from scratch, playing background characters with minor lines on British television in the late 1990s. At 17, he first stepped on stage in the musical Martin Guerre, then struggled through B-list films like 24/7 and the TV series Teachers. He didn't stand out, and no one imagined that this chubby, awkward guy would become a pop culture icon within a decade. The first door opened with his role as Jamie Reimer in Fat Friends. But the real turning point came in 2007 when James co-created the hit sitcom Gavin and Stacey with Ruth Jones. He played Smithy, the loud, lovable best friend with a charming, down-to-earth sense of humor. The show wasn't just a ratings hit, it became a cultural phenomenon, a gentle bridge connecting English and Welsh cultures through warmth rather than stereotypes. From a supporting actor on TV, James Corden rose to become a familiar face at prestigious award shows like the Brit Awards, appeared on top entertainment programs, and joined charity campaigns like Comic Relief. To the public, he was the ideal image of success without privilege, an ordinary man achieving the extraordinary through charm, hard work, and a bit of well-timed luck. In his memoir, James candidly admitted, "I started to think I was cool, and that really happened. I acted as though I was incredibly important." That honest confession soon led to consequences. In 2009, while at the peak of his fame, James and Matthew Horn launched the comedy show Horn and Corden, only to be harshly criticized by The Telegraph. The show was cancelled after just one season. That same year, the film Lesbian Vampire Killers, starring James, was labeled a box office disaster. Critics didn't hold back their disapproval. But worse still, in 2010, at the Glamour Women of the Year Awards, an event meant for celebration, James got into a public confrontation on stage. Stage legend Patrick Stewart, a figure of old-school nobility in the arts, took the stage and openly criticized James in front of the entire audience.
"I want to speak to James. When the host is on stage and someone's receiving an award, he shouldn't be standing at the back with his hands in his pockets, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else."
That could have been taken as a gentle reminder, had it been met with grace. But James responded immediately with a brash tone.
"Oh sir, you're completely wrong. If I looked like that, I'm sorry. But if you're up here to give an award, just get on with it."
The tension seemed to subside, until Patrick Stewart fired a final jab.
"From where I was sitting, I could see your belly. I'm just waiting for the punchline."
James didn't back down and replied,
"You see my belly, and we see you slowly dying on stage."
To cap off the bizarre confrontation, James lifted his shirt to show his belly amid the crowd's mixed laughter.
"Has anyone not seen my belly yet? Here it is. Someone call a taxi, this old man wants to go home."
The clip quickly went viral online. Many began to sense that James was losing control of his emotions, and what could have been dismissed as trivial now seemed like a serious red flag. In hindsight, this wasn't just an embarrassing moment. It was perhaps the first glimpse of a long-hidden truth. Once praised as someone who broke the mold to create a new standard, James Corden has now become the prime example of how fame can corrupt a person, especially when that person believes they can never be wrong. Still, James's career didn't collapse right away. Following the scandal, he continued to find success as host of A League of Their Own, and especially in the lead role of the comedy One Man, Two Governors at the National Theatre in London. The show was a smash hit, made its way to Broadway, and earned James the prestigious Tony Award in 2012. In 2014, CBS surprised everyone by announcing that James Corden would replace Craig Ferguson as the host of The Late Late Show. The entire American entertainment industry was puzzled. A British actor with little fame in Hollywood, no experience hosting talk shows, and unfamiliar to American audiences, chosen to succeed a legend? The general reaction at the time was summed up in 4 words. Who is this guy? Even James admitted,
No matter how surprised the audience was, the most shocked person was me.
Originally, James went to CBS to pitch an idea for a sitcom, and left with a deal that was practically too good to refuse. Amid skepticism, James Corden made his first appearance on American television in this new role. He didn't come across as arrogant or smug. Instead, he thanked the audience, acknowledged his inexperience, and promised to give it his all. It was a humble beginning, and a smart strategy to start fresh. If Craig Ferguson represented the artistic talk show host, then James Corden embodied the social media era of late-night television. He didn't try to imitate Craig with a watered-down version, he redefined the talk show experience entirely. James changed the format. Instead of interviewing one guest at a time, he brought all the guests out together to spark natural interactions among celebrities. Audiences weren't just watching an interview, they were witnessing a conversation among celebrities. Sometimes awkward, sometimes electric, but always genuine. And most importantly, James understood that younger audiences no longer watched television the old-fashioned way. Traditional TV ratings were becoming meaningless. What really mattered now was, did last night's show go viral this morning? And that was when carpool karaoke was born. A car. A celebrity. A spontaneous conversation. A song sung like the whole world no longer mattered. The first episode with Mariah Carey caught attention, but it wasn't until the episode with Adele, where she sang Hello and rapped Monster by Nicki Minaj, that the segment truly exploded. That video garnered over 260 million views on YouTube, becoming one of the most watched late-night talk show clips of all time. James didn't just create a show, he created moments. Moments that were authentic, charming, and viral enough to be clipped, shared, and remembered. From Stevie Wonder calling James's wife and singing I Just Called to Say I Love You, to Lady Gaga hijacking the steering wheel mid-drive, everything felt like audiences were sneaking a peek into celebrities' private lives. No more PR polish. No more scripted lines. Just raw intimacy captured with a few GoPro cameras. Somehow, James made distant superstars feel more relatable than ever. And that was the key late-night television had long forgotten. James didn't replace Craig Ferguson, he rebuilt an entirely new empire for himself. Riding the wave, James and his creative team rolled out hit segments like Spill Your Guts or Fill Your Guts, Drop the Mic, Crosswalk the Musical, and more. All of them were tailor-made for viral success, not only to attract viewers but to spark conversation across every social media platform. By 2017, The Late Late Show's YouTube channel surpassed 10 million subscribers and was pulling in hundreds of millions of views monthly. A feat that even the biggest TV shows could only dream of. At this point, James was no longer just a talk show host. He had become a household name in American pop culture. A man who could host the Tony Awards, hype up the Grammys, star in comedies like Ocean's 8, and voice characters in Peter Rabbit. But behind that carefully constructed image, the first cracks started to appear, not on stage, but behind the scenes. In a 2016 segment on Jimmy Kimmel Live, James was asked to name 2 cameramen from his own crew, and he was completely stumped.
Name 2 of the cameramen in this room.
He gave a nervous laugh and claimed it was a different crew that day. What seemed like a harmless joke subtly revealed something deeper. The man praised for being friendly couldn't even name the people he worked with daily. In 2019, a year that should have marked the height of his success, instead became a turning point into darkness for James Corden's career. It all began during a Reddit Ask Me Anything session, typically a space for celebrities to interact directly and intimately with fans. But instead of admiration, the comment section quickly turned into a public tribunal. One person recalled meeting James at a restaurant with Harry Styles, describing how James yelled and acted as if the waitstaff weren't even human. When the person's friend tried to gently intervene, James reportedly grew hostile and made threats. Why was Harry polite, but James behaved so terribly? One comment questioned. The peak came with a desperate plea: is there any way to bring Craig Ferguson back? After just a few half-hearted responses, James quietly exited the session, leaving dozens of accusations unaddressed. The public began to realize the image of the cheerful host was no longer enough to cover up the widening cracks. And then, as if all disasters arrived at once, that same year, James joined the cast of Cats, a film critics dubbed an unprecedented cinematic disaster. With only a 19% score on Rotten Tomatoes and over $100 million in losses, Cats became a global laughingstock. Even neutral viewers began to question James's career choices. His character, Bustopher Jones, was criticized as being so absurd it was hard to comprehend. But instead of humbly reflecting, James admitted he never rewatched the film. He even joked on live television,
I'm not sure if my character was supposed to have an anus?
a joke widely seen as a slap in the face to the hundreds of artists who worked hard on the project. But Cats wasn't James's final misstep. In 2020, in Netflix's musical film The Prom, James, a straight man, portrayed a gay character in a performance widely criticized as stereotypical, shallow, and filled with cliches. Despite public backlash, he was nominated for a Golden Globe, leading many to believe that Hollywood was deliberately ignoring the growing outrage. When rumors spread that James might join the cast of the film adaptation of Wicked, over 100,000 people signed a petition against it. It was no longer a quiet resistance, this was now an open revolt from the audience. Even when James appeared in unrelated shows like The Friends Reunion, people questioned,
why him? What's he doing here?
When public frustration hit its peak, even previously beloved segments like Spill Your Guts or Fill Your Guts were met with harsh criticism. In the segment, James would often pressure celebrities into eating items like ballot, blood pudding, or fertilized duck eggs, traditional dishes from Asian cultures. Members of the Asian community began speaking out, accusing the show of mocking and disrespecting their culinary heritage. An Asian TikTok user named Kim Sa posted a video condemning the segment as disguised racism. She launched a petition to remove Asian dishes from the show, quickly gathering over 45,000 signatures and sending them to CBS. The breaking point came in October 2022, when James was banned from Balthazar, a renowned restaurant in New York. Keith McNally, the restaurant owner, publicly posted, "James Corden is a talented comedian, but the most abusive customer I've had in 25 years." Because his wife's omelet wasn't cooked as requested, James reportedly yelled at the staff, threatened to leave a bad review, and demanded all their drinks be comped. After being banned, James called to apologize, but shortly afterward told the New York Times that he had done nothing wrong. On a subsequent episode of The Late Late Show, James delivered a 5-minute monologue defending himself, ending with a rather teary apology. But the most alarming part? No one was surprised anymore. James Corden's once brilliant reputation now lay dim under the dust of scandals too numerous to ignore. Old stories continued to resurface. Becky Habersberger recounted how James exploded at a staff member for not seating him on time, even though they had tried their best. A television director who had worked with James described him as the most unpleasant host I've ever worked with. Yelling at writers. Scolding the crew because a joke wasn't punchy enough. Each piece of the puzzle revealed more of a different James Corden, arrogant, disrespectful, quick to anger. A stark contrast to the sweet, lovable persona fans had once adored. And then, the inevitable happened. In May 2023, James Corden officially stepped down from The Late Late Show. He claimed it was to spend more time with family, but everyone knew, the public pressure and endless controversies had taken a lasting toll. The final episode featured Adele and Harry Styles, a farewell karaoke. But it lacked the viral spark, the intimacy that had once defined James Corden's brand. What remained was a quiet goodbye, filled with emptiness. CBS didn't pick a successor. They shut down the entire Late Late Show format and replaced it with a game show called After Midnight. An era came to a close, not with applause, but with a chilling silence. For 8 years, James Corden built the image of a kind, joyful host who could sing and dance. And for a long time, he sustained that mask, thanks to his impressive performance skills, which convinced audiences of his friendly persona every night on screen. But no talent is great enough to hide the truth forever. And James Corden learned a bitter lesson: once your true self is exposed, no performance, no matter how brilliant, can win back the public's heart.